These shears won't cut wet tissue. These shears won't cut dry tissue. So I'm going to sharpen these shears. If you want to watch professional sharpening, I'll show you the procedure. So my first procedure is I check them like you just saw me. But I also like to know what kind of shears they are. Now I'm Bonnie Megowan. I've been sharpening for over 30 years. I've seen most brands of shears. I've never seen this brand before. In fact, it doesn't have a name on it. They're Convex Edge. They're just dull. They look like they're fairly well made. Look, they've got the little Teflon Ride. There's absolutely no name on them. Not on the front, not on the back. I looked up the little orange screw. See the little orange screw there? And the only ones that have an orange screw is Matsuzaki, Rocket Dog, and our Bonika Audi. And that's not one of any of those. So who knows what this is? Interesting. But I'm going to sharpen it, and you saw the before, and you're going to see the after cutting. I use two different machines here. We sell these machines. This is the Cymex HD. Over there in the corner, I don't know if you can see it, is my Cymex Junior. Cymex Junior is a smaller, lighter machine. It will do the same quality of work of a Convex Edge. The difference is it's not as robust. And I like that one when I go into salons a lot of times because it's a little lighter to carry, but this one's still very portable for salons. So with that being said, I'm going to go in and go through my steps of sharpening. And the first, as you saw, was I was inspecting it. And my next is to take it apart and clean it. Now this one's got an unusual screw, and so let's look at that. This is one of those screws that you can literally put in on either side. Now if you've watched some of my videos, and I've got a lot of them, if you're interested in sharpening, I would go in and check out my channel and subscribe. You'll never be able to watch them all, I don't think, and I try to post something at least every Monday, usually Monday and Wednesday. But this one, you can literally put it in either way. You see the little hole here? This should be able to go in. Oh, it's got a double ball bearing too. It's kind of, there's qualities on this. I'd like to know who actually makes this, because there's qualities on this shear that's really nice. So you can put it in this way. Now, why would you, don't lose that ball bearing. Why would you want to put it in the other way? Well, if you're a left-handed person, the screw would be facing you. So notice it when you take it apart, how you take it apart if you have one like this. And those ball bearings did come out. And these won't have a plastic washer because there's a ball bearing. So we got a couple of interesting things to look at the screws. I like to on these videos show you something different maybe than what you've seen before and cover something new. Another thing that might be different than a lot of my videos, you see the little Teflon Ride right here. I've heard some people say when they sharpen these, they make sure that ride is not on their stone when they do the ride line. That little plastic. My philosophy is I want it on there because otherwise I'm taking down the metal on either side and maybe a little bit of that plastic. It's just like a plastic Teflon there. It makes it smoother. But I don't want it thicker than the rest of the blade because then I can tighten it and it'll feel tight, but it really won't be tight enough to cut correctly. Hope that makes sense. But one of the things I do is I make sure my stone is cleaner than I normally would because I don't want to get metal embedded down in this Teflon rod. So this one, you see I've got a lot of metal in here. And I'm going to clean this up a little bit. This is my Nanawa stone. This is 2000 grit. I've got a couple of different stones I use. This is probably my favorite. You might come in here another day and find I have another favorite. So I'm going to get my Negura stone. And this doesn't flatten the stone. What it does, it cleans it up and it creates a slurry. So I want it good and wet. And can you see how that's cleaning up? I'm just working my way down the stone. Now, a lot of you are sharpeners out there and you're watching my videos, and I'm hoping they're helpful to you because I like to have all of us better sharpeners. But I've been doing a little bit more training of people who have already been sharpening and maybe had a lot of experience. And I find that it's one thing to watch people, but it's another to be watched. So I usually can spot some things that improves their sharpening by me watching them rather than them just watching me. So I'm going to color in my edge, but I don't want to get any red on that Teflon. So I'm just using my edge marker. We sell these edge markers. In my earlier videos, I'm using Sharpies. It's almost hard to tell which is the sharp side on that one, the way it's shaped. This one I like because it wipes off easier. Some of the old ones I've had to really struggle to get the red Sharpie off. But I want it to stay on enough so I can see what I'm doing. So my pressure is over the pivot, maybe a little bit closer to that area than the back area. And I want to make sure that whole Teflon Ride is on my stone. I'm going to do about 3 strokes and take a look at what's going on. Now, if you look, you see I've got it at the tip, but not that area here. So I might go up here in the corner with a few strokes and coming down. Now this shear, either someone really skilled sharpen it or it's never been sharpened. There is a dip here like it's been sharpened, but they've done a good job. I would say it's never been sharpened, but having never seen this shear before. Okay, I've got a ride line coming down now. I may clean that up again because I don't want metal embedding in that Teflon Ride. She's got her name on here. This is some of my mail order sharpening that comes in through our website. So this is not a customer I've ever met. This one's coming out a little bit better. It's still a little wimpy right here. We were supposed to go to school today up in Blairsville, which is up in the North Georgia mountains, and the weather is, this is middle of January. I don't know when this video will air, when I get it edited, but right now it's the middle of January and the weather was yucky, and so we didn't go. Now I'm looking at my cushion plates. I've got a 400 on this one and a 600 on that one. These are both worn. Typically I use a worn 800, but I think that worn 600 might work good. Can you see how the metal is embedded in there? I can clean this up a little bit with my Swarf eraser. And see how it looks better? But it doesn't look great. if I do this again and spray it with a little alcohol. I don't usually recommend you spraying alcohol because this isn't good to breathe. I can go over it with this, and that cleans it up. And then, if I really want it clean, I can take my microfiber cloth and that'll make my pad last a little bit longer. I don't know if you can see how much better that looks. So now I got to set my clamp, and I'm just going to arbitrarily set it at 45 degrees. That's my go-to number. It seems to be the best for, especially when it's a new shear and I don't know what it's supposed to be, or I don't know anything about the stylist, how she cuts hair, or he. It is a she. Most hairstylists are she's. And see, this is interesting. You see how that has like no dip, and then this blade has like a dip. Don't know why. If any of you are familiar with this brand, or kind of know what this shear is, let me know in the comments. If you've ever seen this before. Now I'm feeling with these two fingers and pulling up. And the nicks that were in here were small. Feels like I got a burr here. I don't have it at the tip. I'm going to angle it down a little bit more. And I might pull it out. I'm not sawing back and forth. I'm constantly rotating. It's starting to get a little warm on my fingers, which might be an indication it's not the best steel. Who knows? It doesn't say anything. There's no country of origin, there's no steel, there's no name. I just think it's odd. And to put as much work as was put into these with a Teflon Ride, the double type of screw ball bearing washers. And I knew I had to work more at the tip, so I'm working my way down. Constantly rocking it because I know it's a convex edge. Now I could go down to something finer than that, but that 600 is pretty fine. I think I'm going to go back to my stone, which somehow I knocked it down here. Let me clean it up a little bit. It's okay to wipe these off with a microfiber cloth because this doesn't leave any residue behind. And once again, I want it looking pretty clean, more so than maybe other shears I do. And I'm pulling it down just enough to get that burr off. I still feel a burr at the tip. I guess I'll cut that off. Ooh, still feeling burr there. Got some hair or something there. Oh, it's good. Someone was saying it's all me feeling it with my thumb, and I do feel with my thumb because my fingers are pretty tender. But these really give me, these fingers here give me the best feel, but I'll feel for my thumb. And if I'm kind of iffy, I'll feel with these fingers. So now I'm going to set my detente from 45 up to about 48. Okay, let's go. So I polished the one blade and it looks pretty good. I'm going to do the other one. And then we'll clean it up, put it back together and test it. And as I'm wiping it off, I'm kind of feeling to see if all the nicks are gone, and I feel a little roughness there. So I'm going to go over this a little bit more, right where I felt that roughness, which was right here. And I could take my handy dandy nail buffer and go up at that area where, in case it's a burr on the inside. Let's see if that feels smooth now. Yep, feels smooth. Any of that roughness means I've left either a burr behind or a nick behind. And you can get by sometimes with a nick on one side. I still feel some nicks in it. Might go over this again. Still have some nicks here. This one feels pretty good. I don't like the way this one feels. I'm going to go back before I put it together. And I was set at 45. I'm going to take this down because I don't know. They felt hot to my fingers when I was sharpening them. So I'm thinking maybe the metal is really soft. I don't know. But, and the other thing I'm seeing, let me let you come in and see this. This really disturbs me. You see that tip? That makes me think this is out of alignment. That wasn't anything I did wrong on doing the rod line. I'm a little afraid to have these too sharp, that they might not hold the edge. Okay, I got a much bigger burr there now. Let me pull that burr off. A lot of times we sharpeners have to be detectives. And that burr is just not coming off back there very well. And I'm definitely not fixing alignment on these because I don't know anything about these shears. And I would hate to have to replace them. I know they checked the box there that I have permission to adjust them or bend them or whatever. I'm going to do everything I can in my power to make a shear cut without doing any kind of radical bending. Okay, let's see how they feel now. Ah, that feels good. Feels good. Feels good. Okay, let's put it together. I don't know why I'm whispering. It's like if I talk out loud, I might jinx them. That ride line is basically gone right there. That blade is definitely out of alignment right there. But it's the opposite here. You see this sometimes in shears. Let me let you zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. the ride line is almost gone and then super wide on this one. On this blade, it's wide and then it's almost gone. So it's almost like they're out of alignment, but they're out of alignment together. So like a dysfunctional marriage, but it works. So don't try to fix one or it'll be messed up. Okay, so now we have to remember how we put it together. That it's for a right-handed person. So I want the knob on this side facing me. So it's got the ball bearing washer that goes in here. This is next. That ball bearing washer can be put on either way. It's not one side is up. Now my leaf clicker plate, and all these parts we sell them, and they've got names to them. And it could be this shear had a name at one time and somebody had to replace the clicker plate and replaced it with a generic one with no name on it. It's hard to get this screw not to be cross-threaded. The trick to not cross-threading is to start it out going the opposite direction. Going kind of counterclockwise before you turn it clockwise, but it's just not cooperating with me. Come on. What is wrong with you? I usually don't have this much trouble. Is there something in there? Come on, I know we took you apart. So you got to go, there it goes. And I don't always cut these off with a paper towel. Today I will because I'm a little worried about the way these blades are fitting together. A lot of times I'll just do the first cut on a tissue. And I'm actually cutting in case there's any burr left behind. You remember how these started out. They better be better. All right, I'm checking the adjustment. That looks about right. It moves a little bit. I might do it one looser. A lot of times, maybe it was too looser. With you have a ball bearing washer, you can go a little looser because they don't have to be seated. So I'm going to try to cut dry first. And remember, it didn't cut dry at all. These shears won't cut dry tissue. It cuts dry, yay! And comparison, I'm going to do it wet. And yes, I use toilet tissue, the single ply, cheap stuff, because it's so cheap and thin that if there's anything not right with that blade, it's going to tear it. So you see how thin that is? These shears won't cut wet tissue. And I'm pulling my thumb out. Kind of tricky to do. A lot of people have trouble with that. And it cuts. Did you see that? And you want to do it slow and pull. And that tip did not pull. See? So that was sharpening a generic pair of shears. Always before you give them back, run your finger over the tip. Make sure the tip comes together. Make sure it's not rough. And I'm going to oil it, put a ribbon on it, and it's back to the customer. Hi, this is Bonnie Megowan from Bonika Shears. I hope you're staying sharp. Hope all these tricks and little tips that I showed you about sharpening are helpful to you. And if you want to see more, make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell. I usually upload about once a week, sometimes more often, so you want to be a part of that. We have a Sharpeners Jam each year, and we also have a Sharpeners Jam group. All these things are in the description links below. So are you curious about the tools I'm using in this video? Those are also in the links below, as well as on the product page. And also you can go to my website, www.bonika.com, which I'll have free information packages that you can download. And I do sharpening training both here in our office, but also online, and of course on these YouTube videos. So you stay sharp, my friend.